This week, President Trump will join NATO leaders for a high-stakes summit in Turkey. Iran and the war in Ukraine are expected to be major points of discussion. The meeting comes as President Trump once again called out NATO allies, saying the United States carries too much of the financial burden for the alliance.
I think that President Trump has been right all along to focus on getting NATO countries to spend more on defense. And indeed, they've committed to do so, and they've begun doing so. So last year at the Hague Summit, they committed to 5% of GDP on defense spending. Some countries are already at that level, like Poland and some of the Baltic states. Others are increasing their defense spending.
Welcome to State Line Media. Let's get started. Donald Trump looked absolutely terrible yesterday. Did you catch that CNBC interview where he confessed that he and his children get inside information and that he sees nothing wrong with using it to rake in billions of dollars straight from the Oval Office while the American people struggle? Then, late last night, take another look at Trump as he continues to unravel. He had a full psychotic meltdown, firing off a post attacking NATO, calling it ridiculous for the United States to keep walking this one-sided path when the relationship isn't reciprocal, insisting they weren't there for us.
I am very disappointed with President Putin.
Now announcing he'll send Ukraine Patriot missiles.
We will send them Patriots, which they desperately need, because Putin really surprised a lot of people. He talks nice and then he bombs everybody in the evening.
ABC's Armando Garcia has more on what to expect as allied world leaders will convene in Ankara.
On the eve of a high-stakes NATO summit in Turkey, a deadly Russian missile attack pummeling Kyiv.
Trump keeps going after NATO, even as Putin fires ballistic missiles into Ukraine, hitting Kyiv and other cities, all while Trump refuses to send Patriot interceptors to Ukraine or even let NATO allies buy them to pass along to Zelensky. Meanwhile, the death toll keeps climbing across Kyiv and the rest of Ukraine.
The Islamic Republic of Iran, they're having a hard time with food, and we're going to be taking some of their money and we'll spend it, and we're going to be buying wheat, soybeans and corn, a lot of it, and that process is going to be starting pretty soon. It's going to be pretty big, too. I think it's going to be very big. We have an expanded market, dairy in Europe, and the dairy market, as you know, in Europe, we've opened it up.
From there, Trump kept pushing the claim that Iran will have to buy American corn, which will supposedly help farmers and truckers, and that Americans are going to get rich off this memorandum of understanding. Of course, he's still lying about it. Iran's own leaders, including Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf and Foreign Minister Araghchi, insisted they never agreed to any of that, saying the MOU itself is the actual agreement, nothing more. Technical discussions are supposed to follow, though the previous round of those talks went nowhere. Still, Trump claims Iran has no money left, so the U.S. is just going to take some of it. What does that even mean?
Iran had no money when I was president. They were out of money. They were bust. They had no money. They weren't giving it to Hamas. They weren't giving it to Hezbollah. They weren't giving it to anybody because they didn't have any money. They were just about bust. And in fact, I put sanctions on last night. Any oil that anybody takes from Iran is not allowed to do business in the United States of America.
Some US media outlets have reported that thousands more American Marines and sailors are now heading to the Middle East. Making the announcement, CNN cited anonymous US officials. It comes days after the US redirected a group of amphibious assault ships carrying some 2,500 Marines to the Middle East. So does this deployment foreshadow a ground operation on Iranian territory? An amphibious landing, for instance, to secure the Strait of Hormuz, a crucial shipping lane which has effectively been blockaded by Iran.
Trump is sending more Marines to the Gulf. Remember, J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio both admitted the MOU isn't really a formal deal at all, just a 60-day window to restock reserves since the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in Cushing, Oklahoma, is basically at rock bottom. As Robert Pape points out, military moves speak louder than statements. Stars and Stripes, which tracks U.S. military movements, reported that another amphibious assault ship has joined the naval buildup tied to the Iran talks. So there's a fresh military buildup underway, possibly larger than the last one. A second amphibious-ready group joined U.S. Navy forces in the Middle East this week as Trump keeps the military option on the table.
Officials Washington believed Israel may have been considering targeting Iran's top negotiators. These assassinations were reportedly being planned even as the U.S. and Iran were negotiating a ceasefire. The report highlights a fundamental difference in priorities between the U.S. and Israel.
We've also learned that Israel keeps trying to assassinate Iran's negotiators. Netanyahu is reportedly attempting to kill Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, as well as Foreign Minister Araghchi. Israel's IRI 24 News asked top security officials to respond to a New York Times report claiming Israel has repeatedly threatened to kill Iran's key decision-makers, both during earlier talks and now, even as the U.S. wants to avoid this war altogether.
Few moments. The president here, with notable remarks, telling CBS here that at this point in time, I think, quote, the war is very complete, pretty much. They have no Navy, no communications. They've got no Air Force. He said that the U.S. is, quote, very far ahead of his initial 4 to 5 week estimated time frame.
The Israeli official's response was blunt. When Israel wants to eliminate someone, it does. Can we please stop being pulled into endless wars and war crimes tied to Netanyahu? It's disgraceful. Trump then said, don't worry, Iran is finished. They're beaten. They have no military left. We could wipe them out if we wanted, but they've agreed to everything we asked for. What does that even mean? Based on the Memorandum of Understanding and the latest reporting from Axios and others, Witkoff and Kushner are reportedly telling Iran not to charge tolls in the Strait of Hormuz, promising unimaginable riches in exchange, as long as they skip the tolls and trust that frozen funds will be released. But would Iran actually trust that, given that every past negotiation has ended with Trump and Netanyahu launching attacks, and with Netanyahu's government still insisting it reserves the right to kill Iranian leaders whenever it wants? Anyway, here's Trump describing how he supposedly defeated Iran militarily. He was also asked about his crypto earnings, which total more than $2 billion. Is that appropriate? His response, of course. It's how we beat China. If you want to beat China, you have to lean into it. What does that even mean? He's crashed crypto across the country. Plenty of people lost everything in the Trump meme coins alone, and even more lost money in other crypto ventures. Just look at the Bitcoin crash. Massive losses everywhere. So how does making billions for himself while his meme coin investors lost over $4 billion somehow make America stronger against China? What is he even talking about? Play the clip. Then he claimed he had no idea how much he made from crypto. I don't know. Why would I know that? You don't know about the $2 billion plus you made? You're hearing about it for the first time right now? Play the clip. Trump also claimed he was, and still is, the best president in Israel's history, according to him. Play the clip. One more thing worth noting. IRGC Commander Ahmad Vahidi made his first public appearance since the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran began back in February. Al Jazeera's Ali Hashem shared an image of Vahidi at Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's coffin ahead of funeral proceedings starting July 4th. Interestingly, that's the same day as Trump's disastrous event in Washington, D.C. Vahidi took over after his 2 predecessors were killed, a hardliner who previously led the Quds Force. He's now become one of the most powerful figures in post-war Iran. Here's footage of the ceremonies leading up to the late Ayatollah's funeral. CENTCOM also posted about leading a regional security dialogue with 12 nations in Bahrain, hosted by the Bahrain Defense Force. Iran's foreign minister Araghchi fired back, asking whether CENTCOM has brought security or insecurity to the region, insisting Iran's own armed forces have shown that outside powers can't even protect themselves and that real peace requires no outside interference. Iran's foreign ministry added that the U.S. has shown constant contempt for genuine peace in West Asia, calling these gatherings little more than theater meant to disguise America's destabilizing actions. They urged regional countries to stay alert and learned from the recent U.S. and Israeli military aggression that violated regional peace and security. Meanwhile, at the regional level, Iran is striking deals, formal and informal, with Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and others who are looking ahead to a security arrangement that doesn't rely on the U.S. That's where things stand right now. We'll keep you updated as this develops. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates from Stateline Media. Thanks for watching.